On December 26, 1900, a supply ship arrived at the Flannan Isles Lighthouse in Scotland. What they found there has never been explained. The 3 lighthouse keepers had vanished without a trace. The keeper of the relief ship, Joseph Moore, was the first to go ashore. He found the lighthouse door closed but unlocked. Inside, everything was eerily normal. Beds were made, dishes were washed, the clock had stopped, but there were no signs of the 3 men. James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur were experienced keepers. They knew the dangers of the remote island. They followed strict protocols. They would never all leave the lighthouse unattended. It was against regulations. One keeper always had to remain inside, but all 3 were gone. Moore searched the entire island. He found strange clues that made no sense. 2 of the 3 oilskin coats were missing from their hooks, but the 3rd coat was still there. This meant one keeper had gone outside into a winter storm without protection. No experienced keeper would do that. The logbook told a disturbing story. The last entry was from December 15th, 11 days before the ship arrived. Thomas Marshall had written about a severe storm. But here's the terrifying part. Weather records from nearby stations showed no storm on that day. The weather had been calm. Marshall's entry described something else. He wrote that James Duckett had been very quiet, and that Donald MacArthur had been crying. These were hardened men, experienced sailors. What could make them react this way? The final entry was the most disturbing. Storm ended, sea calm. God is over all. After that, silence. Investigators found more strange evidence. The iron railings at the west landing were bent and damaged, as if struck by enormous force. A toolbox that was normally stored 70 feet above sea level had been swept away. But there had been no storm powerful enough to do this. Local legends spoke of phantom ships and supernatural beings that haunted the Flannan Isles. The islanders called them the Seven Hunters. They said the spirits didn't like outsiders on their islands. One theory suggests a rogue wave swept all 3 men into the sea. But this doesn't explain why one man wasn't wearing his coat, or why the logbook mentioned a storm that never happened, or why experienced keepers would all be outside at the same time. Another theory suggests murder, but there was no evidence of violence. No blood, no signs of struggle. And what happened to the body? The official investigation concluded the men were swept away by waves, but investigators couldn't explain all the evidence. The case was closed, but never truly solved. Over a century later, Flannan Isles Lighthouse still stands. Automated now, no keepers. Some sailors refuse to go near the islands. They say on quiet nights, you can hear 3 men calling for help from the rocks, calling to be rescued from whatever took them that December night in 1900.